Hi guys, welcome to my channel and welcome to another session of Africans in Data Science and AI. Today we have Nonhlanhla, who is Zimbabwean and based in South Africa. She is a data scientist. Welcome, Nonhlanhla.
Thank you.
Can you please tell us who you are and where you're from?
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Nonhlanhla Linda Luphade, and I am originally from Zimbabwe, Bulawayo, and currently staying in Cape Town. I'm doing my master's in data science and also working as a data scientist for a microfinance company.
That's great. That's great. Okay, the person who connected me with you didn't tell me you're Zimbabwean, so I thought you were South African. Also,
okay, I get that a lot. It's fine.
I also checked your LinkedIn profile and I saw that like you did your tertiary education in South Africa, so that made me be biased as well. But that is okay. How are you finding South Africa?
It's okay, but home is home either way. I miss like the salsa back home.
Very true. Very true. Okay, so continuing with our questions about data science and AI. What did you study and how did you get into data science and AI?
So high school, I did sciences all the way, and I just knew that I liked maths and computer science. So I went that route for my undergrad and studied, I studied applied maths, math stats, and computer science. So instead of taking two majors, I took three majors because I couldn't choose between applied maths and math stats. So I did everything. And then for my honors, I couldn't also choose whether I wanted to do maths or I wanted to do stats. So I took both of them. And then currently I'm doing a master's in data science. Yeah, that's basically how I got into data science. Okay. Originally, I wanted to do a master's in math stats. And then some guy in this interview was like, you're suited to be a data scientist. And it seemed like God was just like, okay, you're supposed to go that route, because he closed the other routes. He's like, no, I want you to go that route. So I ended up here.
Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting. Like most people will say they found out about data science when they were like throughout their studies, or they just like ended up there or something. But that's really interesting that someone said you're suited to be a data scientist. That's really cool. Is that when you started moving towards data science? Did you start applying for jobs there, or what happened after that?
Well, okay, I wasn't really okay. I wanted to first finish the master's and then get a job, but along the way, I ended up getting this internship for like helping this company with their data. It was a data coordination job, so I would just help with reporting and ensuring that data is stored okay and just that round. And then then my dad was like, you should apply for jobs, even though I'm like, but I'm busy with my master's. So I applied for jobs and then ended up being a data scientist for the microfinance company.
Okay, that's great. So can you tell me more about the master's program at UCT, the data science master's program?
Okay. Now, it's a very, very good course. I think it gives like a good foundation to data science. And the entry requirements is that you have to have some little background in stats, at least have some 101 stats or something like that. And then it'll be good if you have like some programming skills, because if you don't, it'll be a little bit hard, but it's possible still. But little programming skills, exposure to programming is important. And so they take people from different backgrounds. So I met like engineers, people from chemistry, people from even people that do law for some odd reason with it.
Wow.
So like they take a whole range of different people, as long as you are Yeah, if you don't have states, they usually give you like you have to take a short summer program, I think in December, before you actually start the program. And if you pass that, then you qualify to go into the program. And they're quite understanding that some people maybe need like some introduction to programming sometimes, but then you'll have to like work an extra mile to actually be able to do well. But it's possible, and it's very diverse because they offer like finance options if you want to be in data science and finance. If you want to be in ecology, if you want to be in biostats, there's like courses that actually cover that. So you have the core courses where you study like databases because you have to understand databases, and you study data science in industry where they give you an introduction to what is happening currently on the industry, cloud computing and things like that. And then you take coding course, and yeah, so they're like the core courses, and then the electives you choose whether you want to do disease modeling for those that like diseases. You do financial technology for those that like that part, biostats for those that like that. If yeah, there's got a lot of like there's a broad range of things. That's the thing. So it is nice in that way. And if you're more a research person, you can take more research and have like maybe a few like a few coursework. If you want half, you can have coursework for 1 year and then research for another year. And if you want more coursework, you can have more coursework and then have like less on the research part. So it's very, yeah, it's I think they did a good job when creating the course because it offers a whole range. Yeah.
That's great. That's really like it allows people to be comfortable in their own like skills and like background or their targets after that. So it's really great. So how long does it take to get the whole program done?
2 years.
2 years.
But it could be 2.5 because yeah, the research sometimes it goes it goes a little bit over. But it's possible to just get it done in 2 years if you don't have other responsibilities.
Okay. Okay. And it's I mean, you said you're working while you're doing the masters. So is it flexible enough to allow you to have a full-time job whilst you do your studies?
Yes, it is, because there's quite a lot of people that were actually working and studying. So, because some of the coursework, like the lectures will happen in the evening. So it allows people that go to work to actually attend. But with the online, they just record and then you listen and you go through the work on your own. So it's actually it's very flexible. They understand that people at this age will probably be having jobs and things like that. So they do like cover that. It's quite dope, I would say.
Okay. And then if you decide to take the courses and then do the research afterwards, do you have to do the courses for 1 year and research for the second year? How is it split?
Yeah, you have to do the courses for 1 year, then the research for the next year.
Okay. And when it comes to exams, do you write exams over 2 semesters or just once?
It's over 2 semesters. You have exams for the first semester and then exams for the next semester.
Okay.
But also it depends on the courses that you take, because some courses you could cover most of the exams the first semester.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I thought it would be interesting because I also get people who ask me about data science master's programs, and I have no idea about such programs because I did a master's in mathematical sciences at a different institute. So it's always like difficult for me to answer properly, but it's very useful to have someone who has experience with this and they know what they are talking about. So what kind of work do you do and what kind of interesting like projects have you worked on so far?
Yeah. Okay. So currently I'm a data scientist for a microfinance company. So we deal mostly with like credit stuff. And yeah, but interesting projects that I've done would be my thesis project. That is interesting.
Oh, really? What is it about?
Yeah. So the same way you said that you did something about audios, I think I saw a video where you were talking about audio files and transforming them to spectrograms and all that. So
Mhm.
it's about this endangered species in honey in China. So they're called honey and gibbons. So
Okay.
these species are now extinct, and they're becoming extinct because there's only about like 33 individuals currently in that island. So we're trying to find ways to help with monitoring and preservation and try to help, yeah, the environment to be more conducive so that they reproduce and become like more and stuff like that, increase the population. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to use the audios. They make those very beautiful sounds. Like it sounds like Adele. Like they're very
Wow.
unique sounds. So like they make those very unique sounds. So what I'm trying to do is take those sounds and try to create a classifier using convolutional neural networks that is able to predict that each audio file, where from which social group does it come from. So currently, as they live in the island, they are in different social groups. So you have
Okay.
different groups, A, B, C, D. So we're trying to see like when an audio recording comes through, can we predict that it's from this social group or that social group? With that, it helps with the people that work there so that they don't have to go in ground to check what's happening, but they sort of have an understanding of what's happening. If they don't hear anything from a certain place, like all the audios coming through, they're not from a certain group, they know that maybe that group has migrated and joined another group or something like that. So it helps with like monitoring and also avoiding them being invasive, because when they go into the field, animals sort of disappear because they're so scared of the people. So it's try to help with the monitoring part and also hope that it would preserve this very beautiful species. So that's what I'm doing for my
Oh,
master's thesis. Yeah.
that is a cool project. So one question, when you're listening to the sounds, do they set up sensors all over the island, or is that the sound of the animals has a large range that you can record at a specific base? How is that collected?
No, they put like sensors like in like locations of like the groups. So they put like sensors like a while back. I think it was around 2016 when they started the project. So that those are the recordings I'm using with hopes that creating that classifier, they can use it now with the new audios to see what's happening on ground. Are there new groups forming or things like that?
Okay, that is a very cool project. What kind of software or programming languages are you using for that?
So I use mostly Python and that sonic visualizer to like look at like the frequency, the spectrograms. And yeah, but mostly I use Python for like my project. And yeah, it's mostly Python. And what's the other thing? That Google, what's it called? That people use, what is it?
Collab?
Sorry, what? Yeah, Google Colab kind of helps with other things also.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, so what advice do you have for anyone who wants to go into data science, especially like coming from a maths background, because you also found some things very different from your academic background?
Okay. Well, it's always like a very hard one. Like, okay, what advice would you give them? Well, I would say that um, if you're a person that's keen on like asking a lot of questions and you're very curious and yeah, you like to research, investigate, because the thing about data science is that there's no one road
Yeah.
with everything. There's a lot of like different roads that you can take. You can read like a research paper and do the same experiment, but you get like different results and you interpret them in a different way. So
Yeah.
you just have to be a person that's keen on like reading up, because you gain more, you sort of gain more understanding as you go, like with experience when it comes to data science. The more you work on the data, the more you know how to go about handling and doing a lot of those processes. There isn't like a set methodology. Obviously, there are guidelines, like you have to start there, but it's not set. So you have to be keen on investigating, being curious, asking questions, and just be passionate and love it, because it's very detail orientated. Like, love data, love looking at the details and questioning everything. Don't just take things as face value, but question, like, okay, with this increase, what does it really mean? What caused this increase? And try to answer that. And if you're passionate about it, you enjoy it, and it becomes part of you, kind of. So when I see something happening like the robots, I'm like, oh, they actually probably took data and then decided that if we put like 60 seconds for a person to walk, it's sufficient, even the people in a certain age range or something like that. So you have to love it and see it even when you're going around, that, okay, this is where it works. And and also the whole stereotype about being like, oh, if you want to do data science, you must be like really smart. It isn't the case per se. You just have to put in the effort. If it's something that you really want, just go for it. Learn the programming, take some courses, talk to people within the field, network with people. People will help you. And also the other thing that's like very difficult is that there's a lot of information. That's the thing, Tatenda. Like, there's a lot of information, and sometimes it's hard to navigate, like, what should I like look into? There's neural networks, there's this software, there's that software coming out. So I feel like the part of like getting people that are already in the field to kind of give you a guidance in terms of like how you go about that is quite important. So like, ask people within the field that have been in the field for long, ask them about, how do I go about this? And they'll sort of like help you that, oh no, you have to like try, if you want to specialize in this, look into this. If you want to do this, look into that. Yeah. So I think that is the other thing. And just be keen on problem solving. It's all about problem solving.
Yes. I think it's great advice, especially like asking people, because there's a lot of information on the internet. So you kind of, it's easy to get lost and so confused because it's overwhelming. But like, you can always reach out to people and they'll give you sort of a direction on based on what you're interested in. So what does a day at work look like for you?
Well, we don't have a lot of meetings, which is nice. We're basically, maybe at the start of the day, we have like a priorities meeting, sort of like what are our priorities for the day. And we just have the chats with the director and see where we're going to do, what we're going to do, where we are, if we finished the task from last week or something like that. And then mostly it's just supporting the different departments in the different countries. So like, the company has like different branches in different countries also. So you support like operations with their questions. You investigate quite a lot and you use SQL. Like, you're always querying in SQL. And most of the things are done in SAS. So the company uses a lot of SAS, but I also use Python and R for my own things, because sometimes SAS can be like, in terms of like how you write things, it's very difficult. You write like a long statement just to get like the simplest of things. So I usually prefer to do things in Python. So I just query the data and then work on it. So it's mostly like questions from operations teams. You sort of monitor how like the customers are behaving, and you make sure that the reports, so mostly report maintenance and ensuring that the reports are working properly, the database is updating okay, supporting the software developers with logic behind reports for reports in the system. Basically that's what we do. Like, in a day, you just get like a lot of data requests from the different departments and you try to help them out. Or like, they have a question, why is like risk looking like this? And then you have to go and investigate. So you spend most time investigating and you end up learning something else. And it's very interesting. It's like basically doing many projects most of the time, but it is quite interesting.
Yeah, I totally get that. It seems quite interesting because you have so many, if you're working with so many departments, then that means your work is quite diverse, I think. So that is good because a lot of people always end up saying that it gets boring working on the same thing. So I think it's really interesting. So I've come to the end of my questions. Is there anything else you'd like to say or add on to the discussion that we had?
Um, I mean, what I would add is that, guys, data is art. In some way, it is art to some form, I think, because when you look at it from a different perspective, you sort of have a different story. So I always see it in that way. Like, I'm always like, when I look at data, there's a story that's like behind each person, each customer, each entry. There's like some story to it. And also, people have a tendency of trying to force data to look in a certain way, but let data speak its truth. And yeah, you just have to transform it, but don't transform it to the extent that it doesn't speak its truth, but it should maintain its truth. If the cells are not good, they're not good.
Yeah.
and also and also the other thing, it's not about this knowing, it's not about obviously you have to know the tools. It's not about the tools per se, but it's about the data and the yeah, it's about the data because the tools help you figure out the different questions that you're trying to figure out. But it's not really about the tools, but you have to understand the principles of data. And yeah, because we did like this very interesting course where, because when we are in a science field, we have the hard skills. We ask the questions like, oh, what's the aim? What's the purpose? Then we go into the work. But that course was teaching us about having soft skills, like having a conceptual model in your head where you like plan and you like look at it like, okay, from this perspective, this data is saying this, but what if we think about it in this? I know the purpose is that, but you know, you sort of structure it in a very different way. So yeah, I think also soft skills are important when you're in data science. It's not about just knowing how to code and stuff like that, but you have to also have the soft skills to ask the stakeholders like, okay, what exactly is it that you want? You know, what impact does it have? And things like that. So you have to have the soft skills to communicate with people because operations people would just come and throw questions. And sometimes the questions don't even make sense. So you have to ask. And sometimes even the things are not impossible. So you have to have the soft skills also to handle those kind of situations. And yeah, I'd say enjoy what you do. Find something that you like. And data is very diverse because you can work in any field. So if you feel like health is what you want to do, go for it. If you feel like finance is what you like, go for it. You know, I like ecology and I'm doing finance also at the side. So not side, but I don't know, both half. I can't say side because that sounds like, but yeah, just go for what you want to do and what you're passionate about. And yep, put in the effort and the hard work and it will all work out. That's all I have. I talk too much.
Thank you for making time for this.
Nah, thank you for hosting me.